So, right here I have two individuals that I'm very happy and pleased to have here today to talk to the viewers, the audience, the supporters, the subscribers. These are two individuals I've known a long time, and a lot of you that are familiar with Ballroom Throwbacks television, you know them as well. But for those that don't, can you please both introduce yourselves to the people?
Hello, I am Queen Mother Shanice Moncler.
And I am King Mother Jacen Moncler.
Okay, well first off, is it just Moncler or is it Supreme Moncler?
Supreme Moncler.
Okay, I like that. So, I kind of, this spotlight I want it to be a little different. A lot of people are familiar with your histories, but so I kind of want to go more into recent past, but definitely more into present for the future. Is that okay with you guys?
That's fine.
So, Supreme Moncler. What is Supreme Moncler? Describe what that is and what it's about and what's the initiative, the mission, you know.
So Supreme Moncler, the House of Supreme Moncler, is really a couture collection of individuals that are entrepreneurs, we are advocates, we are community builders, we are resourceful. You know, we also believe in breaking down the typical stereotypical norms that ballroom has always projected, you know, when it comes to cisgender normatives. Like as you see, Shanice is the Queen Mother, I'm the King Mother. So we really want to push the boundaries beyond what ballroom has seen before. You know, this process for both of us is an evolution that will start a new revolution in ballroom, because we all know ballroom has changed so much in the last 10 years, but let alone the last 5 years alone. So it's really important for us to be progressive and build ballroom better and not chase ballroom.
Build ballroom better and not chase ballroom. Chinese, kind of elaborate. What does that mean?
Building ballroom. From my experience in ballroom, when Jacen came to me about starting a house, I wasn't even participating in ballroom. I kind of walked away from ballroom, but it's just, since this happened, we always say it's alignment. It's just an alignment, straightforward. So, from my experience and me and Jacen experience in ballroom, what brought us together is from my experience in ballroom, being in houses where, you know, it wasn't as loving or supportive, and it just was like more of a dictatorship. It's like an old system. And building ballroom, it's about creating something that's a loving environment. This is what we're doing. It's based off love. It's like based off support. It's based off uplifting each other up and our community. And it's also based upon going with the flow with the new generation. You know, I was so intrigued when I, you know, started to dip and dab back into ballroom, how it's a whole new generation. And what's inspiring about me, what I so believe my calling is to inspire other people, use my experience to guide and teach other people. And what better way to do it than the platform that I have in ballroom, with so many people look up to me, with so many people would say to idolize me. I'm grateful. It's a privilege. It's an honor to be a part of ballroom. Not only be a part of ballroom, be an iconic figure in ballroom where people look up to me. It's just my duty. You know, it's something that God has graced me with, and now I've come to understand the importance of tapping into that and using that, because it's very beneficial, and it sort of makes me feel complete and whole. So that was, you know, my initial reason. That was my reason, personal reason for wanting to come back. And so when Jacen, you know, reached out to me and then you have to also give respect and honor to Caesar.
You know,
because Caesar
really. So okay, let's back up a little bit.
Go ahead.
So when, you know, for years people have always told me that I needed to start a house, and to be honest, I never thought that I would even be in the spot that I'm in right now.
Right.
and I thought that I would be a prodigy forever.
Right.
But I realized that in growth, in my evolution, that I was, too big of a personality to keep being in a box.
Right.
And, I surrounded myself by like-minded individuals that pushed me to do more and pushed me to be greater and
Right.
pushed me to excel beyond what I thought that I could possibly do. And when I had the conversation with Caesar, when I departed ways from the House of Prodigy, I was like, it's time that I start a house. I want to start my own house. Like, I want it to be, less I and more we, where no voice has more seniority or more power than the next. Like, really a collective and collaboration. Too many
Well,
times.
I'm going to cut you off. We're going to keep it all the way real in this, okay?
What? Keep it real.
So, we're going to come back to that thought right there. But we're going to if we're going to do the interview, we're going to do it real.
Okay.
So, Jacen, I want you to talk about your fears. When you first left the House of Prodigy, you also had a conversation with me about walking away from all of this and just fully focusing on your career and fully focusing on yourself. You give it over 20-something years of Ballroom, just like Shanice has, and you kind of was wanting to walk away. What was for you the decision for you to be like, because you starting your own house, as far as that suggestion and advice from myself and others, was definitely not the first time after leaving Prodigy. This is something that's been in the making,
For
me
years.
telling you for years. So what made you decide to kind of, want to take this leap, you know what I'm saying, on, when you're especially approaching 40 and like you've always talked about like,
Not being involved in ball
right,
past
and,
certain age.
and
Right.
knowing that, if you started something new, you want to give at least 10 years to it.
Right.
What was the thing for you that made you be like, you know what, I'm going to do this?
Actually, it really was like my kids. And some of my kids that like my true kids that followed and decided to join Moncler too, you'll be seeing them soon. They really pushed me to be me not realizing the magnitude of my voice, me not realizing that I am so resourceful and not realizing that okay, Jacen, this book is done, but it's time to write a new book. So there was no way that I could just up and walk away from Ballroom and not still be proactively a part of the revolution of Ballroom.
Right.
So I had so much more to give, so much more to offer. So it was no way that I could just walk away and be like, oh, I'll just be Jacen and that be that. I've gotten offers to join a lot of houses, and I didn't no longer want to go somewhere where I fit into what their blueprint of what Jacen has to be. Again, I kind of feel like in Ballroom has taught me a formula. It's now my time and Shanice's time to pass that formula back out, and we can teach you Ballroom. And then you build it and architect it the way you see fit. It's not about control. It's not about designing something that's perfect. It's really about, collectively and collaborative, how you guys are going to synergize together, and that's all Moncler is.
Yeah, and one thing that me and you were speaking about was
We could be speaking about so much stuff.
Okay, but while you run that, Shanice,
Okay.
give me, because I don't want to give too much to the viewers, but getting back to when we was having so many conversations, because I'm always on you, as you know. And, when you was talking about certain things, and I was like, just giving you kind of some ideas for you to kind of get focused on what your goals was going to be. When I mentioned the Shanice to you, I was like, especially me working with Shanice and just me knowing how Shanice has been the past year, her working back with me again, I said to you, I think Shanice will be great at this time of her life for
Right.
something like
Right.
this. And I said that to you. Describe to me, both of you, that initial conversation when you called her with this.
Well, number one, people don't know this. Me and Shanice are very close. So we've always had a great relationship with each other throughout the years. And we always wanted to really walk team face with each other. But the opportunity never presented. It never happened.
And I can attest, this is years
Years
of
in
me
the
saying you guys should walk and you guys thinking y'all should walk. And
Yeah.
And not only that, Ballroom doesn't it's rare that they have them categories anymore. It's rare Ballroom. It's just the category, the joy, the passion of just categories. Team Face was a hit category. You had so many people
Right.
who walk Team Face. If people from different houses will come together and walk, and it
Different
just
statuses,
and when
everything,
I say that this was an alignment, because they don't have Team Face, and now they have Team Face, and then out of the blue, Jacen called me, but to be completely real, before Jacen called me, I knew that it was just destined to get in alignment. I have had so many people hit me up about joining their houses. So again, as I go back to what I was saying earlier, whereas though I felt, spiritually that it was time for me to return to Ballroom. Not only, just to help and influence and guide again, because I'm so inspired by the new generation. And when Jacen, I love what I was going back to, and I said a lot of people, a couple of houses had called and offered me to come to the house. And so my good friend Torrance was in my ear for a while, trying to get me to come join to become a West. So on the strength of him, and the fact that the House of West is full of the new generation that was inspired, so I was going to do. But make long story short, that didn't work out. And Jacen called me once I came to an agreement that me coming to the House of West, didn't work out. He called me right then and was like, I was like, so Shanice, they got this teen face category coming up in Texas. And she was like, in Texas? I was like, yeah, it's a $1,500. We should go walk. We should go turn it out. We always wanted to walk with each other. So she was like, oh, that could be cute. But she wasn't like really sold on it. So I was like, yeah. And I also like left the House of Prodigy. Like, I want to start my own house. Me and you should start a house together. And she was like, what, Jacen? Like, what you mean you want to start a house? I was like, I'm serious. I want to like start a house together. Like, I should come to New York. We should go to dinner. We should sit. We should talk and like map everything out. And at first she told me no. She told me no, and I was like, well, not no to walking Teen Faith. It was like no to starting the house. And I was like, okay, well, we still kept talking about walking Teen Faith. So I hung up the phone, and I remember I called Caesar back and was like, Shanice said no. So I said, but you know what? I'm gonna just go to sleep. I'm gonna pray on this, and if it's meant to be, when I wake up in the morning, it will be. It will meant to be. No exaggeration. I put my phone down. 2 hours later, I had a text message from Shanice, and she was like, I'm gonna do it. So I'm thinking in my head like, well, okay, she's going to walk Teen Faith. We already talked about that, so let me call her back. I was like, so what you going to do? What, like walk Teen Faith, right? She was like, no, we're going to start a house. Like, we're going to do this. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah. So it's funny. I kind of already had some names that I was like kind of playing with.
Let's hit that for part two.